What is good, my friends? Welcome back to That's BS with me, Brian. Let's get into it this week. First things, my apologies for the delay in video this week. I know I usually post on Wednesday and I usually shoot it on Tuesday night so I can be as current with things. Not that I talk about a lot of current events, but at least I can try to be as up to date if anything exciting happens in the world or in my life. But I wasn't feeling very good on Tuesday. I think part of it is now that I've been doing keto, I've stayed away from yerba mate teas, which were like my favorite thing ever. And I used to be a sugar-free Red Bull guy, but I've been leaning towards coffee, and I think it just wrecked me. So I was down for the count on Tuesday, and then I was going to shoot it on Wednesday, but I felt a little depressed, to say the least. And this is totally a huge first world problem. But as I've mentioned before, I pre-ordered the PlayStation 5, and I saw these kind of the rumor mill going around about Xbox One or Xbox Series X. A bunch of people got emails saying their stuff was delayed, even up until the end of December, which is like, damn, that really sucks. And then, sure enough, right after I saw something about that, I checked my email, and it said that Walmart had delayed my shipment for the PlayStation 5. So I was pretty bummed out about that. It didn't say if, when, whatever. So I was, first world problem, super down in the dumps about that. But then shortly after, probably like an hour, I got a text from FedEx saying that I have a package that's going to deliver on Thursday. And so I went on the forums, and they were saying that Walmart's preferred delivery outfit or whatever is FedEx. So that was good news, I guess, to hear. And then I, created a FedEx account. I have the tracking information, so I called FedEx. I said, hey, this is me. I verified myself, and said, is there any way I can figure out where this package is coming from? And the gal said, oh yeah, it's coming from Walmart. And guess what? Only thing I ordered from Walmart was a PS5. So I was super duper hyped about that. And then sure enough, today about 1 o'clock, it showed up, and I'm glad I waited to take my lunch for work until then. It took about 35 minutes to set up, but it is super dope. I've pretty much, once I got off work, I've been playing it all day. It's pretty cool. I need to get more game time on it to give you the best feedback, but pretty much everything that they're saying on the internet or on YouTube or whatever is pretty accurate. I mean, the loading times are crazy. Like, I was playing Assassin's Creed Valhalla on my PS4 Pro last night, and when you like fast travel, it takes like 30 seconds or 45 seconds. Another first world problem. And then when I did it on the PS5 today, it's like the second your guy pops up in like the little place where you can run around and swing your axe or whatever, it immediately went to where I was supposed to go. So that was pretty crazy. Games load up super fast. But the setup took a little bit of time because I like to go through all the settings and fine tune all the things that I want throughout the entire like generation for like the next 7 years or however long it's going to take to get the PS6 or whatever it's going to be, if there's another one. But I got it all set up, and now I like it. You can set up to where games will default to your specific play style. And what that means is, like, if you're one of those weirdos that uses inversion, or I don't know if that's the right word, but you use inverted analog controls, you can set it to where the system will like manually override stuff for you as you go into games. So it immediately inverts the controls for you, or sets the difficulty, or does a bunch of just like quality of life things, which is pretty cool. Like I've said before, I'm a huge gamer to small circles, but now I'm putting this shit on the internet for all 64 of you. We got one new subscriber, so shout outs to you, new subscriber. But it's pretty cool. I'm pretty stoked. I need to, like I said, look into it a bit more and play a little bit more to give you some more feedback on it. But right now I'm loving it, and the controller's dope. I haven't gotten any haptic feedback, like major, this is the dope new thing. The controller is definitely sick. It's like all the best things about the PlayStation DualShock controllers and the Xbox controller in terms of like shape and feel and all that stuff. But I haven't played a game yet that really shows you the haptic feedback. But I guess the Astro's Playroom, the one that comes preloaded, really gives you a good tutorial on how the controller works. I bought Spider-Man Miles Morales because I'm a diehard Spider-Man fan, and I bought the one that comes with the remastered Spider-Man PlayStation 4 edition, but it's like upscaled and whatever for PS5, because I beat the shit out of that game a million times, but Spider-Man's my favorite superhero, and it was a great game on PlayStation. So I'll be banging through that, but I'm doing Assassin's Creed Valhalla right now. I have to say that, like, if you've had a PS4 and then you went to PS4 Pro and then you looked at the fidelity and like the quality of the graphics and just how like the minute details, like the PS5 is pretty crazy. Like just the texture quality, and you can set it to either resolution mode or performance mode, which resolution mode I think does it to where it gives you 4K, it gives you the best resolution possible, and then performance mode does it to where it's the highest frames. So like if you're playing a first person shooter, instead of going from 60 frames, you can do 120, which is pretty dope. My PC, the one I record all this stuff on, is already the shit, but then I play all my FPSs on it, but it's just cool that now my PlayStation 5 is in the same realm. Some aspects are better, some aren't, compared to my PC that I built for podcasting and gaming and all that stuff. So it's pretty cool. Yes, it was a pretty penny, but definitely worth it so far. And to all my friends who are trying to order either an Xbox Series X or a PlayStation 5, like, keep pushing for it. I know that like Walmart keeps doing, we're restocking our shelves or whatever they say. They said the same thing to me during the pre-order launch, and I was just super persistent. And after about like 1,000 tries, not really, but it was at least like 20 tries, I finally got a pre-order, and it's definitely been worth it. Shout outs to Mercedes, best wife ever, best Christmas present. It's a little early, but like last year she brought me a Nintendo Switch for my new job. Well, it's not new now, but at the time, new job, so I could do something while I travel instead of watching reruns of South Park and The Office. And then this year bought me the PS5. So shout outs to you. You are the best wife ever, and all other wives that are watching this, step your game up. So enough about PlayStation. Like I said, I'll give you an update next week or something when I have some more time with it, and tell you what my overall experience is. I've been watching some things on YouTube, and they're talking about the good, the bad, and the indifferent, and all the bad stuff that they're saying is like dumb shit, like it's really big or it doesn't have enough storage, which that kind of sucks, but just it's great. I like it so far, so definitely keep trying to get yours if you can. So, I don't know if you've noticed, but the camera angle is a little different. You can see a little bit more of my nips, a little bit more of me. That's because I was using a bar stool for our kitchen island as the chair in here. And it gave like a good vantage point, I guess, but I moved it back downstairs because we're getting a new dining room table, and we're just finishing, thank God, the bathroom that Mercedes and I have been remodeling since my birthday, which was June. So we're getting that all situated, and all the shit for it is on our kitchen table, or not kitchen table, our dining room table right now. So we need the island to eat. I usually stand and then let Mercedes and her grandma, who's been living with us, sit down. And by usually, I mean always. So yes, I am a gentleman. You're welcome. But her grandma had this chair that I'm currently using in her bedroom, but then she said, I need a softer chair. So she got a new chair, and then I just took this one. It's an old dining room table chair from my mom's house, like the table I grew up with. So I've been using it. I had to tilt the camera down a little bit to get a better angle, but hey, I feel like it's a better depth of field. I don't know if that's the right camera person perspective, but I like this a little bit more. And it also shows off. Let me move the mic real quick. I'm continuing. English is, really tough for me. Words are hard, but I'm continuing. Holy cow! To lose a lot of weight on keto. I'm officially down 23 pounds. So that's awesome. I'm pretty stoked about that. You can kind of see it in my face. I'm able to, shout outs to the chubby and husky folks out there, I'm able to trim more of my beard to my jawline, because like I've said before, when you're fat in the face, you got the beard going into more of a neared situation, so you can hide some of those chins. But hey, I'm working it up, so things are looking up for me. But yeah, really, really happy about that. I was talking to my buddy Jordan the other day. Shout outs to you, JP. I think it was yesterday, actually. But he was, asking me how much I'm down, because he's been like super buff and a grown man since we were like in 6th grade. So he was just checking in on me, saying like, hey, how's the weight loss going? I said, man, I got like another 40 pounds or whatever to go, but it's going good. So I'm really excited. The goal weight is like 175, 180, back to my fighting weight, but that's a healthy wait for me. That's what I was in college, and I hope to not be a fat fuck sooner rather than later. So that's pretty good. So all the Netflix folks out there, I don't know if you knew this, but if you didn't know, now you know. The Chappelle Show is finally back on streaming services, and that is by far the best comedy sketch show. Like Key and Peele, they're great, but they totally got, I mean, all those sketch shows got everything from the Chappelle Show. And he just absolutely kills it. If you're a diehard Chappelle fan like me, he's definitely on my Mount Rushmore of comedians, and just all things funny, and his movies are great for the most part. And I have to say, well, at least the ones I've seen, I think are great. But I have to say that he is pretty fucking wild for doing the Tyrone Bigsby as the very first episode. And I think about that all the time, that he literally lead foot pedal to the floor first episode. Like, how he didn't get canceled after that is insane. I mean, obviously it was a different world. If that happened nowadays, then fuck, I don't even know what would happen. But man, absolute king of comedy, hilarious guy. I watched his SNL. I'm not a big SNL fan, but whenever hosts come on that I really enjoy, I definitely tune in, and I literally waited for it to come on so I could like stream it live and all that stuff after I think we were watching college football. I think it was the Clemson Notre Dame game is when I watched it after that. But anyways, his monologue at the beginning, he fucking crushed it. And I love it. He said that about the women and wage gap thing, and he was like totally joking. Like, it's a fucking comedian. Like, when Bill Burr came on there and absolutely slayed, like, I watched that one. He fucking killed it. But all these people in the stands, all like 12 people in the audience. I mean, there's way more than that, but it's all like quiet, and then Dave just calls him out. He's like, guys, this is a comedy show. Like, fucking deal with it. I love that. I mean, that's the thing that I love about, Bill Burr, about Dave Chappelle, about all those guys that are just, they realize that jokes are jokes. I feel like all comedians do. I've been really, really honing in and tuning into a lot of comedians lately for inspiration, watching podcasts like Joe Coy, Andrew Schultz, like all of my favorite guys. They've been really talking about how, you just got to go for it, and people are either going to love it or hate it. But that's the thing about comedy, is you got to realize that it's a joke. It's not serious. I mean, some of it is, but it's a joke. And those guys are not afraid to be themselves and let their true voice come out. And that's really awesome. And then one of the things that I heard Joe and Andrew talking about on, I think it was on Joe's podcast. Yeah, we're on a first name basis. Never met him before, but we're best pals. They were talking about how, you either figure out your voice, or you figure out your stage presence, or, you have delivery, but you don't have jokes. And it's like all these different ways of how you're coming up. And fortunately, being in college, I had a lot of public speaking experience. I emceed like all the assemblies in high school at my school, which was pretty large. It wasn't like one of those crazy schools that's like thousands and thousands of kids, but we had like at least 1,500, I think. Somebody can fact check me on that. I don't know. But we had a pretty large school. I would do all the pep rallies. Sometimes I would even dress up as the mascot, which was fun. But man, that thing was hot as fuck, and all the like fans in the helmet were broken. That was cool. But I've had a lot of public speaking experience, and then when I majored in college in communication and leadership, I did like a lot of presentations in front of like small and large groups. So for me, whenever I get up on stage, I'm like kind of comfortable. Obviously, I'm trying to get the jokes better, but I feel like I have not mastered by any means, but I'm definitely an intermediate in terms of a public speaker. So hearing them talk about that, like figuring out your stage presence, using the space, Joe Coy's amazing at that. Like if you watch any of his specials on Netflix, and I heard him say this on a podcast, that he always makes sure to look at like the mezzanine and like look at the nosebleed seats, because people are paying money to come see you, so you got to give them a show, not only with the quality and the jokes, but just like pay attention to people. And it's like little things like that I really appreciate about him and a lot of my favorite comedians, that they think about everyone there, not just the people in the expensive seats. So that's really cool, just perspective. And then just listening to them talk about all their struggles, like Andrew Schultz talking about how nobody would buy his special. It was the lowest point in his career, and then he figured out the whole YouTube thing, doing short bits instead of like a large special. And now look at him. He's fucking blowing up. He has those great, like, quick news BuzzFeed things with popular news. He hasn't done one in a while, at least that I have seen. But all of them are fucking hilarious. He, like, started them at the beginning of quarantine. And the production value is insane. And then Joe Coy talking about how when he first started, he just... he was trying to get Netflix to buy a special and they wouldn't do it. And he literally went all in and he was... like broke because he spent all this money. He even like or what he said, I could be wrong here, but I know it's along the same lines. Like the floor of the actual like stage, he like re-laminated it or resurfaced it or something for like 10 G's because it would have looked better in the video. Like he pulled out all the stops to do a professional production, and he really went all in on himself. And then that is what propelled him to the next level. Right before he did the show, Netflix called him and said, hey, I hope you know, just to reiterate all this conversation we had before, we're not buying this. And then he crushed it so hard, Netflix bought it, which is fucking awesome. I mean, there's way more to that story. Definitely check out his podcast. And just, I think he talked about it on Logan Paul's podcast, Impulsive. And he talked about it with a couple other people recently, I believe, like in the last month, because he's been doing kind of like a circuit with a lot of people. But it's just like, that is so inspiring to me. And just listening to that, and I always say this, and I think I've said it on here before, when life shits on you, you know, cow shit is the best fertilizer. So plant the seeds then, and then just keep working at it, and then those things will sprout into amazing opportunities. And just hearing all these guys that I really look up to and admire in this space, not so much like the YouTube or podcast thing, but just like I've said before, my ultimate goal, my dream job would be a stand-up comedian. And just hearing all these guys really invest and believe in themselves, and then having their circle tight. And it sucks that you have to cut some people off, but that's sometimes what you got to do to get yourself to a place where you can take care of the people that are taking care of you on your glow up, which is like insane. And just knowing the right people to keep in that circle to continue moving forward, it's wild. And for me, I was talking about this with my brother Kevin, I think last week. I don't know, it all blurs together, but we were talking about, you know, sometimes I got to keep telling myself, and I was talking about this with one of my best friends. Sometimes you got to remind yourself to take the next small logical step, because, you know, a handful of small steps equals one big step. So, you know, sometimes if you begin with the end in mind, which is a good thing, I've heard that a lot in leadership. You know, you got to begin with the end in mind to know where you're going, to be an effective leader. But at the same time, you have to focus on right now, because if you don't focus on now, then you may lose track of where you really need to be going. And it's a super cliche, but, you know, the journey is the destination. But it's so true. You learn so much about yourself in the moment, so don't take those things for granted. And so I just try to keep that perspective. And then going back to what I was saying, listening to all these guys that are like my idols, who I look up to, and I've been doing a ton of research on them and their build up and how much work they've put in and all those things. It inspires me, it fuels me, and it also lets me know that this kind of confusion, me running around like a chicken with my head cut off, trying to figure out my voice, trying to figure out my comfortability, allowing myself to project who I really am on a broader scale, which I say I do that, but do I do that? It's like a constant gut check thing. And so I've been saying this, and I'm going to go all in on myself, and if I want this to happen, I really got to work at it. I've been writing a ton. I'm working on an actual, like, not set, because I only do open mic, so it's like 5 minutes. Like when sorry, I got to get some athletic water. But like, when I do open mics, and the more you do them, they give you like more time. Like when I first started, it was like 3 minutes, and I worked my way up to like 5 or 6. But then the world started ending, so I got to earn my keep again. But I really want to work and develop a solid 5 to 6 minute bit, and then work my way up to like a 15-minute, because a 15-minute is, at least from my understanding of like listening to a lot of these guys, like a solid 15 minutes is where you really figure out, is this for me, kind of thing. And, you know, I keep saying I'm looking for like someone, a mentor or someone to help guide me, because I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. But Andrew Schultz said this as well, that and I hope I'm saying his name right. He spells it Schulz, I think, but people say Schultze and stuff. So I'm going to make sure I spelled that right, because I would feel terrible, because he's literally one of my favorite comedians. He's just so funny and absolute stud. Andrew Schultz. Yeah, I swear it's Schultz, but whatever. If I'm butchering your name, bro, literally, you're my fucking hero. Please don't hate me. But if you watch this, but, or if, I get to where I want to be and you see this in the future and then go, that guy's a dick. I'm not trying to be, bro. I idolize you. But enough dick writing. I think that, getting that 15 minutes locked and loaded would be great. I want to find what I was saying. Sorry, I went on a weird tangent per usual. I want to find someone to help me with this stuff. But he said on a podcast recently that when you're doing your thing, people will find you and people will gravitate towards you and help you with your success and your growth. So I'm really hoping to find that. Obviously, I need to put in way more work before I can even consider getting a seat at anybody's table. So I'm just excited about that opportunity. It'd be really cool to do some work with Joe Coy, because we're both from Tacoma. I just found out he went to Foss. I didn't know that. So that was pretty cool. And I say I'm from Tacoma, but I'm from Lakewood, which is unincorporated Tacoma, but whatever, nobody gives a fuck. But yeah, I grew up in the greater Tacoma area my whole life, and I lived there, and I owned a house there, sold it. It was a meth house, I swear. Before we bought it. But I'm just excited about all this stuff. I don't mean to ramble about it, but it just gets me excited and gets my mind going a bunch of different places. Like I said, I've been writing, and what the topic is on is, Mercedes has this app, and I'm sure a lot of other women out there have it. But what it is it tracks your menstrual cycle, and it tells you when you're ovulating, or when your expected period is, or the likelihood of you getting pregnant if you're trying to conceive at this certain time in your cycle, blah, 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 blah. And the basis of what I'm talking about is that there should be a companion app for your significant other, so they know what's going on and you get notifications and things like that. But I'm putting this out there to the universe, so if somebody steals this, fuck you. I try to do fuck you with my hands, my strong hand. I don't know what the fuck I was doing, but hopefully no one steals this. But I'm working on it, and I hope to schedule open mic sometime soon so that I can start working on that one. But yeah, I thinking about writing that joke has made me think about, and sorry, that was Kanye in the background doing a little shake. They just woke up and realized I'm in here. But I'm thinking about doing something where I just kind of workshop a joke on quick videos to just add more content to the channel, because I definitely want to build this up, and I know it's a long process and building your audience and things like that. So hopefully that's something that people enjoy, and then maybe do some game stuff here and there now with the PlayStation, but we'll see. It's open for interpretation, I guess. One cool thing, I gotta look and see what the app was, but the other night I was watching something, and I always look at Fiverr. Sorry, I don't know if you heard that in the background. That was Kanye yawning. I don't know if you've ever heard of Fiverr, but Fiverr is essentially you can go on there and pay people to do logos, web design, stuff for Twitch, a bunch of different things, services for graphic design, essentially, is what at least I've gone on there to look for. But then I found this app. Where is it at? Oh yeah, it's called Canva. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but that's it. Oh, you're not going to see that. Well, that was pointless, but it's called Canva. And I got an ad for it either on YouTube or on Instagram or something, because clearly I'm Fiverr, looking up how to get a a logo or just some graphic design. I've reached out to some people for some help, but life happens, crazy shit's going on right now, so I appreciate people even just talking to me about it. But it's really cool. It gives you access. Oh shit, which I just realized I should probably cancel my pro membership, or I'm gonna pay, because I'm cheap as fuck like that. But you get a free trial of the pro membership or whatever. And I tried it to kind of create some designs. I'm a little nervous to show them off, because by no means am I artsy like that. But I've created some things. I've shown to Mercedes. She likes them, but by default she kind of has to like the shit I do. But I'm thinking about maybe using that as the Gen 1 logo for the pod. But we shall see. But that was pretty cool that I kind of was looking into that. Well, that's kind of all I really had to talk about this week. I was just really excited about a lot of the comedic inspiration that I've gotten in the past 2 weeks. I know Mercedes and I did the Hot Ones thing, and that was cool, but I don't want this channel to become like a, hey, it's me doing a challenge. Like, I'm trying to be a comedian. I'm trying to make a fun podcast. I'm getting paid tomorrow, so I got to pay some stuff, some bills and whatnot that Mercedes and I have talked about. But if there's any moolah left over, I'm going to buy another mic and another stand, and we're going to use our old dining room table as like a setup in here, so there can be some space behind, and then get some folks over here to talk and build this platform up, because I really want to make it something that's enjoyable. And shout out to all my friends that reached out to me, and my mom who reached out to me this week and said, like, hey, are you doing okay? I didn't get my That's BS fix. What's up, Kanye? My That's BS fix for this week. So I appreciate you checking in on me. Sorry, I just had some stomach gurgles and just was a little down in the dumps about my first world PlayStation 5 problems. But we're back on track. I'm more inspired than ever. I'm going to keep watching all these comedians and see what they have to say, and just let that continue to fuel me, not only my own passion for this, but just listening to struggles that other people had. Because like I said, you know, when life gives you shit, plant seeds, because shit is literally the best fertilizer. So I'm going to cut it at that. Thank you for joining me this week. I really appreciate it. Again, my apologies for the delay. I love you guys. This has been really cool for me. I feel like this episode, I literally I didn't do any retakes, which is pretty cool. I think I'm figuring it out. Well, that's going to be it. Sorry, it's a weird cut here at the end because my hard drive literally goes insufficient space. Sorry, we're cutting off your recording, fuckhead. So I had to clear up and delete some bullshit. I have 2 hard drives though on this PC. I just got to figure out, maybe I didn't connect it to my motherboard right. Who knows? But anyways, thank you so much for tuning with me. Love you guys. I really appreciate it. And I miss you already.